afternoon, America. Lily Spellman. Hope you all had a happy new year and a fun time celebrating with friends and family. In the wake of all the excitement, we here at HB1 are reporting some of the most newsworthy economic events of 2015, as well as some common misconceptions. The following news coverage, summating the year in commerce and economics, will pose this question to every American. How much do you know about your economy? Good evening, America. Lily Spellman reporting live tonight, beginning with some economic news. It has been reported that just 2.7% of personal consumption expenditures go to Chinese-made goods and services. 88.5% of U.S. consumer spending is on American-made goods and services. This statistic is pretty different than what we perceive to be true about Chinese-made goods.
I'm pretty surprised about that, Lily. I would think that Americans spend money mostly on Chinese-made goods, wouldn't you?
Definitely. Let's go to Erin in the streets to see what the public thinks about these new statistics.
Thanks, Lily. I'm here at a local construction site to find out what homeowners know about the origin of the goods they buy to complete their renovation projects. Where do you think most of the products you buy in America are made?
I would say China or Asia for that matter, but I think Americans need to start consuming more American-made goods. We need to support American business and cut down on consumption of Chinese-made goods.
So you believe that we consume more Chinese-made goods than American-made ones?
Yeah, I'd say so.
How would you feel if I told you that actually 88.5% of consumer spending is on American-made goods and services?
That's a very interesting statistic. I feel like with the amount of Chinese-made goods in stores, that's not the case, but definitely interesting.
Well, Lily, there you have it. This is surely going to take some people by surprise. Back to you guys in the studio.
Took me by surprise.
We have some breaking news coming straight from Washington, D.C. It's been disclosed that Havana is getting its first U.S. embassy in more than half a century. But don't pack your bags just yet. President Barack Obama announced today that the two countries are formally reestablishing diplomatic ties with the opening of embassies in each other's capitals, marking the most momentous step in the diplomatic thaw Obama initiated with Cuba this past December. It puts the U.S. on a path of access to the island that many American tourists might like to enjoy, but stops just shy of open travel. The agreement does, though, mark the most sweeping change in U.S. policy toward the nation that lies just 100 miles off the U.S. coast since the U.S. embargo on Cuba started in the early 1960s. Now to Michael in the studio to discuss the weather for your 4th of July barbecues. Good evening, America. Lily Spellman reporting live. Before we get started with tonight's news, we have an update straight from the United States Social Security Administration. They've released that monthly Social Security and Supplemental Security income benefits will not automatically increase in 2016, as there was no increase in the Consumer Price Index from the third quarter of 2014 to the third quarter of 2015.
That's interesting that you bring this up on air, Lily. Speaking of Social Security, 2015 has been a year of shocks and surprises as people realize that the funds they're contributing may not be returned come 2030. At our dinner table last night, my father expressed his financial concerns as he looked on toward the coming year, and he'd be rather displeased to hear that the benefits won't be returned at an increased rate come January 1st, 2016.
See that? The issue of Social Security is affecting us all at a personal level. Now let's go to Erin Lake in the field to hear from the people of America.
Thank you, Lily. I'm here with Jen Carson, small business owner here in Hampton Bays, to discuss the public's opinion on Social Security. Do you currently agree with the way Social Security is being handled?
Well, from what I've read, it offers a really low rate of return on my money. If I could, I would take the money I'm putting into Social Security, invest it on my own, and I would probably end up with more money.
So you believe there are other ways in which our money can be handled for retirement?
Oh, most definitely.
Well, there you have it, Lily. Back to you guys in the studio. Thank you, Lily. I'm here on the Pacific Shores, about 10 miles away from a major oil drill site, trying to figure out how much the public knows about our oil sources. Let's ask California citizen Evan Kelly, who I found walking on the beach this morning, where he thinks most of our oil comes from.
What's up, Aaron? I watch you on HB1 with my grandmother, once at 5 p.m. and then again at 7:30 p.m. It's excellent seeing you out in the field.
Well, thank you, Evan. So, Evan, where do you think most of America's oil comes from?
Probably the Middle East, but I'm not really sure. Thanks for doing what you do every single day. Out in the field, it's a tough job.
Thank you. Why do you think that oil comes from the Middle East?
You know, like the media outlets always portray all the oil coming from the Middle East, so it must be pretty important.
Well, actually, Evan, you're not alone in thinking that, but in a new report, it was revealed that actually only about 9.8% of oil comes from the Middle East area. Most of it actually comes from America, Canada, and Mexico. Does this shock you in any way?
Definitely. I knew that oil came from Alaska, but I didn't know about any of those other places. I never hear about them on the news, and I just thought the Middle East was a bigger deal than they said.
Okay, well there you have it. Back to you guys in the studio.
Well, thanks, Erin. Back here in the studio, we also received a surprising economic report stating that just 9.8% of oil consumed in the U.S. comes from the Middle East. Most of our oil actually comes from American, Canadian, and Mexican sources.
This very significantly changes what I thought about the origin of liquid gold. I feel like I'm always hearing about Middle Eastern oil, so it's surprising to hear that it only makes up a very small percentage.
Definitely. Well, moving on in other news, Selena Gomez has just confirmed that she's dating international pop star and One Direction member Niall Horan. There you have it, America, a review of the year in economics. Thank you for watching, and we hope you'll have a fiscally responsible year in 2016. Happy New Year!